4, 3, 2, 1. Good luck.
Good afternoon, everyone. Shalom. I'm Shosh Badrosian, spokeswoman for the National Public Diplomacy Directorate here in the Prime Minister's office. I'll take a few questions after a couple of very brief points to share with you. Just make sure you put your name and your outlet in the chat of this Zoom with your question. It is Thursday, October 30th, and today is day 755 since Hamas started the war in Gaza and when our hostages were first kidnapped by Hamas terrorists. 13 of our deceased hostages are still in captivity, 13 of them. It's a painful number and a reminder for Israel that continues to fuel our commitment in this ceasefire plan. Prime Minister Netanyahu is determined to get all of our hostages out of the evil, disgraceful hands of Hamas monsters. It has been several days since Hamas handed over any of our hostages except the fake recovery and staging of one of our previously rescued hostages who was buried back in 2023. It is clear Hamas is violating the ceasefire with broken commitments and promises to President Trump, the Americans, and certainly to the people of Gaza, who have long suffered and continue to suffer at the hands of Hamas's terror reign. 13 bodies must come home for a proper, dignified burial, which is exactly what Hamas signed up for when they agreed to this deal. Point 4 of the 20-point plan says all of our hostages, living and deceased, will be returned within 72 hours once Israel accepts the agreement. That was more than 17 days ago now. I don't have to tell you Hamas violated the ceasefire agreement over and over again. Qatar's prime minister even called it a violation when Hamas attacked our soldiers and killed one of them just the other day. There are no excuses for Hamas, a terror organization that is designed to annihilate the state of Israel, its allies who believe in strong democratic values, and those in the West. Thankfully, our strong and committed partners in the United States understand this and have helped the Prime Minister implement a plan to dismantle and disarm Hamas. Yesterday, Prime Minister Netanyahu visited the Civil Military Coordination Center in Kiryat Gat, which is helping support the implementation of this 20-point plan. The Prime Minister spoke with CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper and with General Patrick Frank, explaining he was impressed by the joint Israeli-American effort to advance the current framework here. It is an accomplishment to reach this historic moment of having our American friends in Kiryat Gat, the Prime Minister explained yesterday, as both Israel and the United States are working to ensure the plan achieves a different type of Gaza, a Gaza that no longer poses a threat to Israel. Prime Minister Netanyahu reaffirms that Israel's foremost priority is security. While Israel has always managed and defended its own forces and borders, he emphasized that the United States and Israel have collaborated on immense projects, past, present, and future, that are reshaping the Middle East today. The cooperation and coordination between Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump have been unprecedented, forging a relationship that not only strengthens regional security, but also defends the shared values of freedom, safety, and civilization. U.S. security is reinforced by Israel's innovations and strength as Israel confronts the same enemies that threaten America. From Hezbollah to ISIS, from Hamas to the Houthis, Israel stands on the front lines against Iran's terror proxies, serving as America's first layer of defense in the Middle East and the world. Now, this partnership ensures that U.S. interests remain protected without requiring American boots on the ground. Equally vital is the unparalleled intelligence cooperation between our nations. As one U.S. Air Force intelligence chief once said, if the United States had to gather on its own the intelligence that Israel provides, it would need to establish 5 CIAs. Prime Minister Netanyahu has long understood the principle of America first. But as he reminds us, it does not mean America alone. Great powers need great allies. Israel stands as that fighting ally, shoulder to shoulder with America in the battle between good and evil. I'll now take a few questions. First question from Joel Pollack, Breitbart News. Tucker Carlson is a prominent conservative content creator in the United States, close to President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. He recently interviewed anti-Semite and white supremacist Nick Fuentes. Should Trump and Vance distance themselves from Tucker Carlson? Well, first off, anti-Semitism is disgusting. There should be no platform for it. There should be no opportunity for people to spew anti-Semitism. But that is a question that you should refer to President Trump and Vice President Vance on. Tal Shalev, CNN, Secretary Rubio said the U.S. is working on options to create a mandate for the ISF, including the possibility of a UN mandate. Would Israel support a UN mandate for the ISF? Is there a different mandate or mechanism that Israel would prefer? In what capacity does Israel envision the ISF to act in Gaza? Is it purely a peacekeeping force? Does it have enforcement authorities? And does Israel see it being armed or unarmed? So in terms of this international stabilization force, which is actually point 15 of the 20-point plan, which talks about this temporary international stabilization force will immediately deploy into the Gaza Strip once the time is there and once we are getting closer to it. In terms of the details on this, of course, these conversations are ongoing, and I don't have much to share on that. Of course, these are really sensitive conversations. And Tal, I'll bring you back to where we are right now. 13 deceased hostages remain inside of Hamas captivity. Hamas has violated the agreements they signed up for. They signed up to President Trump and the Americans over and over again. They have killed some of our soldiers during the ceasefire. In addition, they have held onto our hostages. They committed to a plan within 72 hours to release our hostages, all 48, all living, all deceased. Here we are, 17 days later plus, and I'm still telling you, 13 of our deceased hostages are in captivity right now. The next question is from Jody Cohen from Newsmax. The vice president was asked yesterday what the benefit was to the U.S. of the U.S.-Israel relationship. We know that the U.S. has supported Israel in this war against Hamas, especially President Trump. But what does Prime Minister Netanyahu believe the U.S. gets from this partnership here? So yes, of course, you're right. America supports Israel, of course, but it's not foreign aid. It's an American jobs program. Over 75% of that money is actually spent back in the U.S., supporting tens of thousands of jobs, high-end paying American jobs. The money doesn't go to Israel's treasury. It goes to U.S. industry. And Israel's technology also protects American lives here. We know U.S. Marines are also shielded by the Iron Dome. We emphasize this, shielding and protecting Americans. U.S. tanks are protected by trophy armor that destroys rockets before impact. And our AI sensors and drone technology, tested in real combat time, are shared directly with the Pentagon. Also, every chip Israel makes is one less China makes, and that keeps the world's most advanced semiconductors in American-friendly hands here. And let's talk about the intelligence. I mentioned in this briefing before that a U.S. Air Force general mentioned that the amount of intelligence that Israel collected, they wouldn't be able to do it. They would need 5 CIAs to do that on their own. Together, the United States and Israel have stopped ISIS and al-Qaeda plots, saving American lives, and Israel fights America's enemies so America doesn't have to. Of course, this is not foreign aid. That's a high-yield investment in American jobs and innovation and security. And let's not forget, when Israel defends itself, it defends America. The partnership between President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu is stronger than ever right now. And of course, we are continuing to see the plan, the ceasefire plan that we are currently in, come to fruition. That's where we are right now. And through the military pressure Prime Minister Netanyahu put on Hamas in this war, and the diplomatic leadership and efforts President Trump put on Hamas in the region here, it's gotten us to this point where we are currently at a ceasefire, and we are hoping that Hamas will uphold their side of the agreement. Okay, so those are all the questions that I see right now. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to us directly. We're happy to answer anything. Thanks so much. Have a good day.